Hey family, Brother Greg just wanted to come online and share a few words with you. It's election day or midterm elections, the 8th of November. I know a lot of people was out partaking in the system and voting. I have two questions I wanted to ask ourselves. First question is, what do you think the end game is or was for the people who created this Eurocentric capitalistic system? What do you think that end game was? What do you think it is? Who do you think created this system? That's one question. The other question is, what do you think the end game is for the creator of the heavens and the earth, if the creator even has an end game? I will offer my opinion. I'll reflect back to an interview with the late great Bob Marley. He was asked, how does he reconcile smoking ganja when the government back in that time, before he was killed, how does he reconcile smoking when the government says it's illegal? And Bob's answer was that every single government on the face of this earth is illegal. So all their laws are illegal. Let's think on that. Every single government on the face of this earth is illegal, and their laws are illegal. And if I were to reflect on how this government, this system started, it was the murder, the rape, the pillage, and the conquering of the indigenous people of this land, the Native Americans. Now, what's left of their culture, they're on reservations with a ton of problems, social, economic problems. But they still, we have to say, a lot of the Native Americans still know who they are, and they still have a connection to the culture. Black folks coming from the motherland, stripped of our name, stripped of our God, stripped of our moral ways and folk ways, stripped of our religion, stripped of everything, brought here and was made the burden bearers for this country, and we built this country. So is what Bob Marley said have truth to it. If we're just looking at this system in this country, that every single government on the face of this earth is illegal. And the question was surrounding what, he smokes ganja. We can look at the tens of thousands of people that are still locked away in these jails on nonviolent marijuana charges. And here we are out in society, in many states, marijuana is legal, but you have people locked up because governments were slow to recognize the, if you will, benefits, medicinal benefits of marijuana. But now after all these years, they're saying that it has medicinal purposes or use for marijuana. That's just one example. Can go on and on and on. This is just a question. Back to the question: what is the end game for the people who constructed this system that we're under? And I think if we understood, really not a far back history, but just going back a short way, we would understand that we are partaking in a system that is of the devil, the ruling class. So that's a question I wanted to raise. A few days ago, I commented on the Kyrie Irving Ye controversy with the Jews. And I had mentioned that it's an age-old problem because the people back in Jesus' day had the same issues or the controversy that we are having now. Something to think about on this election day for you people who vote and sometimes chastise the people who see life a little different. As I mentioned, I wrote the book Trying Times, From the Pyramids to the Projects. And I wrote a poem. It's in the first chapter. I believe it's the second poem. The first chapter is titled Political. And it's titled The Tower of Babel. And I think if we look at the media, social media, we're always being pulled in different directions. A lot of times not based on intellectual thought, but based on emotional thought or emotional feelings. And back in the biblical days, not that I'm a religious person, hopefully I'm a spiritual person, but back in that time, in the scriptures, they talk about the Tower of Babel. I wanted to read this poem. The Tower of Babel, do you understand her? The one that gave us brick for stone and slime for mortar. If so, how did we get here? Is it because we have that King James order or that King James version? Both are confusing to the many not in the know. The Tower of Babel, America, like the biblical city Babylon, who watches her people even when they sleep. The Tower of Babel, Genesis chapter 11, verses 1 through 9. Have we figured out 9/11 yet? Or will we allow another one? That is a poem from the book Trying Times, From the Pyramids to the Projects. And what inspired me to read that poem is that we have a lot of babble out here. There's a lot of chatter, social media, chatter. The news, chatter. And a lot of times that chatter takes us off into a emotional place as opposed to an intellectual place. And if you read the symbolism, the Tower of Babel do we understand her? The one that gave us brick for stone and slime for mortar. If you are a builder of a physical structure and you're replacing brick and you're using brick instead of using stone, you know that what you're building is not going to have the structural integrity as if you use stone. Brick is more brittle. Brick doesn't last as long. And slime sure doesn't have the holding power as mortar does. So if you look at a structure built with stone and mortar, that structure will last for thousands and thousands of years. But if you look at a structure just built with brick, some fabricated man-made stuff, that structure doesn't have the longevity that the stone has. And that stone is really also symbolic for knowledge. When you're raised on a foundation of knowledge, it's like stone. It can't be moved because it's the substance that is dense, the substance that is fundamentally truth. So that stone is like the truth, whereas that brick is like falsehood because it doesn't have the longevity. So I just wanted to bring that to our attentions, not to be distracted by so much babble going on in the media, because I believe that if we understood the end game for the devil, for Satan, then we would understand and we would move differently in this system. We would direct our energy differently in this system that really is a corrupt, rogue system. So I wanted to bring that to our attention. And I'm not saying anything new. I'm not saying anything new. And I believe that there's three main reasons how so many good people got to this deceived place, or have been deceived to partake in a system that, for my years on this earth, has really gotten worse. In all the major areas, has really gotten worse. So I believe that there's three main reasons why we have been deceived, because we know the devil is the ultimate liar, the ultimate deceiver, the ultimate trickster. And those three reasons are, or three main areas that the devil deceived us. One is religion. And the devil came in with his deceptive ideology and philosophy that heaven and hell, are places you go when you die. And you don't experience heaven and hell on earth, which is not where we come from. That's not our understanding of God. Heaven and hell are states of mind. Heaven is within you. Scriptures tell us that. So that's one area. The deceptive ideology that heaven and hell are places you go when you die, instead of experience it while we're living. The second way religion deceived was our culture, our heritage. It was always the father, the mother, and the child. The father, the mother, and the child. That's the African tradition. That's how God is carried on into the future. The male, the female, and the children. That's where we come from. But in this deceptive reality, they come up with the Son, the Father, and some Holy Ghost. What the hell is the Holy Ghost? So the woman is just ripped out of the God equation. So no wonder why women feel so slighted and abused and left out. Because in the very story of the God equation, there's no woman. So if there's no woman, there's no balance. So that's what the devil does. It's an age-old problem. So the ideology that we come up under, this Son, the Father, and the Holy Ghost, is part of the reason why we are in the condition that we are in. The world is in the condition that we're in. So that's one area, religion. The second is education. As soon as we're born, our children are snatched away from us. The mother is sent off to work because we know the fathers, especially the black fathers, are a lot of times not even in the household, or if they are, which a lot of them are, or if they're not in the household, they're still a part of raising that child. But again, we don't understand the God equation. So we're functioning at a deficit. So education is a big factor of why this Eurocentric capitalistic education is a big factor as why families are broken up. Religion, education, and secondly, or thirdly, is the devil co-opted and controls most of our cultural institutions and cultural icons. Thank God we have soldiers like Kyrie. We have soldiers like Muhammad Ali that stood up to truth. Muhammad Ali didn't want to go to war. He wouldn't go to war. He said, "Lock me up. I'm not going to fight." These Viet Congs never called me nigger. But it was even bigger than that. It was the spirit of peace, love, harmony. But if you look at this world, it's conquering. That's how it started. That's how it started. So I wanted to bring these concepts up and ask the question again, what is the end game of Satan? And what is the end game, if there is an end game, for the Creator? We know Satan, the devil, his end game is always to destroy. That's his nature. And we know God's nature is always life, always knowledge, always elevation. So I think we should keep these fundamental principles in mind. And I think it would help to govern our lives in a more productive manner. This is your brother, hopefully your friend, Brother Greg, author of Trying Times, From the Pyramids to the Project. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, share the videos, like the videos. Love you, family. Until the next time. Peace.